Once again, the radio company, the What It Takes radio company, presents another interesting ideas with me, Stan Houston. And today, I have some very good and some very difficult news for you. You are at risk. Yes, it is a risky world, and there are very few safe places and spaces. So let's take a little time to talk about that today. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stan, the Radio Man. Interesting ideas with me, Stan Houston. Glad to be here. Glad that you're there too. Thank you for your being with me. Hey, I'm in front of my big sign that I keep big sometimes because actually it is what I say. It is a four-letter word for life. That's right, life. R-I-S-K, risk. And there is a green dot because that stands for life. Risk, a four-letter word for life. And this little charting over here about that is a way of illustrating risk. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later today. And first of all, we have to note that the election in America is becoming more profound in terms of the depths of differences. Also, what is true is that, in effect, we are at a point where we are at risk in what's going to happen. By the way, Donald Trump is at risk. Now, think about this. There have been two attempts on his life. The first one, obviously, was extremely close. The second one could have been, well, guess what? That means his life is at risk. And so a lot of us would, if we were in that situation, we say, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. There's more than one or two crazies out there, and who knows what might happen. Well, Donald Trump is a risk taker. He always has been. He's an entrepreneur, and in many ways, he's a bit fearless. Is he rough and tough and rugged? And does his personality turn a lot of people off? Do they think he's somewhat of a narcissist, maybe even a touch of sociopathy? Who knows? He is a warrior. That is for sure. And he says, okay, life is the blue circle. That's right. And most of us are living in the blue. We're just going around. But eventually, what some of us will have to do is we have to go into the red, where it's dangerous. And that's where we stop being in the blue circle and we go off and we do something very different, maybe really different. And it's not safe. And it's fearful. And I know that well. I've lived that way for a good many years, Life is risk-taking. Not nearly as tough as some people, and obviously the men and women who are in law enforcement, they live at risk. There are all kinds of people who, they are in a situation where they do risky things every day. So let's understand what is involved in life. A four-letter word for life is R-I-S-K, risk. And as we go forward into the new year, and remember now, in effect, I kind of start my new year during the traditional Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, then the Days of Awe, and then Yom Kippur, which are called the 10 Days of Awe. And we want to learn something awesome about that. So could I just remind you that Life to be fully lived will involve risk. Risk. Now, the situation is that Donald Trump is what Donald Trump is, and he's going forward. Kamala Harris has shown that she's probably not a good candidate. Let's face it. She may win. She has lots of people who will vote for her. But in terms of her political candidate skills, they leave something to be desired. Maybe it's not important. Maybe it won't be important. But in terms of being able to do that, lots of people with greater political experience are a whole lot better in doing presentations, speaking, interviews, press conferences than she is. And she's weak at that part of the business deal. And that puts her candidacy somewhat at risk, because that's important. Well, let's see what happens. We don't know. We don't know what'll happen. I'm a bystander. I will watch and see what happens. And so are you. Some of you are very, very active. Obviously, all of us have, perhaps some prejudices, and we have preferences. But let's see where it goes. It's going to be tight. That's just the way the country is right now. There is no uniform consensus on almost anything, except maybe some issues that are important. As I mentioned, my program just a little while ago, is inflation is still with us, and things are getting to be expensive, even more so. And for some people, that's really a crisis. Yeah. Okay, now, what did the Israelis do? Now, of course, they're saying, what pagers? Really? You mean all those pagers exploded? What in the, well, of course, something is going on. Something is going on. How did they do that? Whoever did it, and of course we know who really did it, but how did they make it so that all of these pagers, and it seems that they were all people of the Hezbollah, which is the anti-Israel coalition in Lebanon, that they had taken away their cell phones because they knew, obviously, that the Israeli intelligence could link into them. And so supposedly having a pager where they were told to go to a place where they could get a message or they could make a phone call that might not be linked into Israeli intelligence. Those pagers blew up. And it's serious. I mean, they say 11 people were killed, even unfortunately a small child. Supposedly, then they are the ones who are out to get the Israelis, so perhaps they believe it's fair game. But many people, very seriously injured. Well, how did they do that? Now, as I speak here on Wednesday morning, flowing into the afternoon, I haven't checked the news to know if there's any real know how they did it. But here's what I do know. It was probably the Israelis, and I don't know. I would love to know, how did they do that? Now, here is what is true, and this puts the Palestinian or the anti-Israel people at risk. They are very good at what they do with things like this. Obviously, what they have done to their opposition is they say, no matter where you are at risk. Hey, we can get you anywhere at any time. Watch out. And so right now, what they have been able to do is that those people who are opposed to them are now on edge, that they don't know. They have a very strong sense of insecurity. Now, they may be brave and bold and all of those things, but the fact that they have had deep uncertainty introduced into their life and their project, which is to, overtake and perhaps put an end to Israel. Maybe even, as Hamas says, put an end to Jews themselves. And remember, as a result, that they may be planning something to commemorate the attack of October 7th coming up again. Well, right now, the Israelis have been able to say, well, watch out. We might have something similar in store for you. Be careful. Watch out. Sometimes putting bad people at risk is the only way you can stop bad people. If the I'm speeding down the roadway and all of a sudden I realize, oh, I'm going 12 miles over the speed limit. That means I'm at risk of getting a ticket for $195. Oh, so I slow down because I'm at risk. And of course, I handle that risk well. I am a speed limit driver. That's why take the risk over something that's not important. Well, I just want to put those things before you today on this Wednesday. I want to remind you, as I said, that the world is in chaos, and what we're looking for are men and women who understand that there are risks involved. They're smart enough, they're clever enough, they're wise enough, they're bold and brave enough to still move forward in a risk-strewn world, and they will still do good things. And we need to be one of those persons, and we need to help people who are. That's important. We need to do that. We need to live that way. And so we press on, knowing that, first of all, if you have what I believe is important, to know that there is a benevolent presence in the universe. I believe that. A benevolent presence in the universe who wants good for me. There's a hymn you may have heard of called Amazing Grace. And one of the verses is, the Lord has promised good to me. Doesn't mean that I'm not at risk. It doesn't mean that some bad things might happen to me. It just means that there is a power and a force and a presence that wants the best for me. And that helps me live with a world of risk. Because you know what? I just don't like to go round and round in the blue circle. There are parts of me that know that I am made to go red. I am made to go red. And endure a little bit of the fear, but at the same time understand that as I overcome fear, that's where the good stuff happens. When we overcome our fears, that's when the good stuff begins to happen. That's me. That's it for today. All the best and blessings to you. Reach out to me, stanhusted@gmail.com, stanhusted@gmail.com. We've got a lot more new and good stuff coming up. The program, the Christian Entrepreneur Network, the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience podcast is launching this month, as is what I call the Christian Entrepreneur Network of the Carolinas. That's being launched. And there are a number of things that you could have an opportunity to do. And it will be risky, but it will be good. It will be good. Bye for now.